It's a short lease. Remind me not to wander. Oh, geez. Okay. Okay, very good. Hello, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm King 5's Rich Marriott. Snow has been falling in the mountains this week, and more is on the way. Reporter Savannah Welch is up at Snoqualmie Pass this morning, where they're preparing for blizzard conditions. That sounds good. Look at the forecast over the next couple of days. Rich, wrap up. When we come back. So I can just go to this and read it at some point? Is that how to... Hi, I'm King 5 Senior Meteorologist Rich Marriott, and boy, it's been an interesting week already, and we're just getting underway. Seems like the winter was over with, but no, we have a little more than 2 weeks left in spring, and it's going to behave like it during the week this week. Overnight, we did see quite a bit of snow up in the mountains, and we also in the lowlands saw a little bit of snow. And taking a look at what we saw in the mountains, and quantities were pretty good once again. Taking a look at those quantities, you can see we had Mount Baker checked in with 8 inches of new snow. Let's see if we can get to that. There it is. Okay, 8 inches of new snow at Mount Baker. Stevens Pass, 16 inches of new snow. And actually, if you combine that with the 17 they reported yesterday, 2-day total of 33 inches, almost 3 feet of snow. Snoqualmie Pass, 6 inches of snow, 4 at Crystal, and 9 at White Pass. And we saw it down here in the lowlands as well. Taking a look at the Granite Falls Tower Cam, they got, it looks like around an inch or so of wet snow there on the play fields. That's going to melt off in today's sunshine. But we did see that area of wet snow early this morning extend all the way from the Cascades out to around the Marysville area, and then a little bit north and south from there in the convergence zone. That is, of course, always already contracted back. But there were reports of seeing some wet snow out there. And then we also had some clearing. That clearing allowed some of the wet roads to freeze this morning. We had a 15-car accident up there in northern King County this morning, and that was due to ice because of those roads refreezing. So it's good to see the sun out helping to melt things off. And things have actually calmed down quite a bit since then. If we take a look at the Doppler radar, you can see things have dried out. That area of convergence has gone away, but starting to see that next system push its way into the coast, and that is going to spread some rain back into Puget Sound as we head towards later this afternoon. It's this kind of a warm-up system. It's not as strong as the ones we're looking at later in the week, but that will also spread some snow into the Cascades overnight tonight. We get a little bit closer, you can see that area of convergence pretty well is wrapped up, and everybody's getting just that little bit of a break this morning. We checked the tower cams around the area. Up there around the Port Angeles, there on the strait, you can see the clouds already starting to roll in from that next system. And if you check out Bellingham there, you can see they're seeing the clouds as well. Checking the view there from Everett, quite a bit different with some blue skies. Looking out there across Possession Sound this morning. And checking Tacoma Tower Cam, we've got sunshine, a nice view of Mount Rainier. So getting some clearing up in the mountains as well, which everybody kind of needs a break right now before the heavier snow starts to move in. At Westport out along the coast, we're in pretty good shape too. We've got some sunshine breaking out, but we have seen plenty of snow this week. It's been falling in the mountains for the entire week so far, and we're in, so take a look at, I've just a moment here. Okay, now we're all set here. I was trying to get everything aligned. The snow has been falling up there in the mountains, I said, through the week this week. And reporter Savannah Welch was up at Snoqualmie Pass this morning, where they're preparing for blizzard conditions coming up here in the next day and a half.
The snow and strong winds in the forecast could make pass travel fairly difficult, especially tomorrow into Thursday. This morning, the drive on I-90 wasn't too bad. I took this video as we were heading east. This was about 4:45 a.m. You can see some light snow showers, but really things are expected to ramp up tomorrow into Thursday morning. That rare blizzard warning goes into effect tomorrow at 6 p.m. with 2 to 4 feet of snow possible in some areas and strong winds expected. Storms with sustained winds like this are rare, and it could make travel through the passes tricky. If you're heading up to the mountains, here's what you need to know. So, traction tires are required at Snoqualmie Pass and White Pass, with chains needed on larger vehicles. At Stevens Pass, chains are required for all cars except all-wheel drive. And finally, at Bullet Pass, traction tires are advised. So, really the message in the days ahead is just be prepared. Make sure you check the road conditions and advisories before you head out, and also just expect that conditions could potentially change fairly quickly if you're on the roadways. At Snoqualmie Pass, Savannah Welch, King 5 News.
And it's been a pretty good start to the week snow-wise up in the mountains, and it looks like a lot more headed our way. In fact, if we take a look at the current satellite image, looking out in the Pacific, you can see we've got that stream of westerly winds moving across the Gulf of Alaska directly into the northwest. That's what's been giving us the low snow levels the last couple of days. But you see that band just to the south there that's those clouds starting to lift up into Washington. That's the first little system that's going to move through as we head towards later today, tonight, and into early tomorrow. That's probably going to produce maybe about 5 to 10 inches of snow generally up in the Cascades, and some rain down here, and little bit of wind, but not much. You see that other system down there farther out, just behind that one. That one is going to develop. When that one pushes in later tomorrow, it's going to raise our snow levels, which right now are running probably around 500 feet, but they're going to rise up probably to about 1,500 feet tonight with the first system. That second one's going to raise them to about 3,500 to maybe 4,000 feet as we head towards later Wednesday into Thursday. And it's going to be accompanied by some very strong gusty winds, which is part of what's causing the blizzard conditions. We take a look at that extended forecast. We're in first alert weather mode beginning this afternoon all the way through Friday for the rain down here, but also mainly for all the heavy snow up in the mountains, increasing avalanche danger around midweek for that matter. And you can see those temperatures rise up on Wednesday, but then drop back down a little bit on Thursday and Friday. So there is a chance we might see a little bit of rain at Snoqualmie Pass tomorrow, which is this rising temperature is not good in terms of avalanche danger. And then as we hit the weekend, things do start to take a break. We should see the showers wrap up pretty quickly on Saturday. Then as we head on into Sunday, we'll see a little bit of sun, but then increasing rain later in the day. And you'll notice as we head on to the first part of Monday, we're going to be looking for those temperatures to pop up into the mid-50s. And snow levels by Monday may be up to about 7,000 to 8,000 feet. And there is a chance we might see an atmospheric river pointing our way. But first, we've got to get through the next couple of days. So first alert weather beginning this evening all the way through early on Saturday. We're looking for heavy rain in the lowlands, heavy snows in the mountains. We're looking at accumulations of 2 to 4 feet generally in the mountains between now and Friday evening, maybe even more than that in some of the places, especially at higher elevations. Gusty winds with that. That's the reason we're seeing that blizzard warning out for tomorrow. And we're going to be looking for increasing avalanche danger as we head towards tomorrow and through the remainder of the week, which may mean that we're going to be seeing some pass closures because of that for avalanche control. And if you're headed out of the backcountry, be sure and go to the Northwest Avalanche Center site and check on the avalanche conditions. Probably not the best time to head out there as we head towards later in the week, but if you are thinking of doing that, be sure and check in, find out what the state of the snowpack is. And of course, this applies basically to all of Western Washington, all of the Cascades, and the Olympics. Take a look at what the Weather Service has out right now. They have a winter weather advisory out basically for all the Cascades and Olympics. That's going to be until 6 o'clock tomorrow, and then once we hit 6 o'clock, that goes down and the blizzard warning comes up. That's going to be in place from 6 o'clock tomorrow through Thursday morning at 5 a.m. We're looking for wind gusts 35 miles per hour or more with blowing snow with less than a quarter-mile visibilities out there, and definitely making travel conditions very difficult. And of course, you'll see even stronger winds if you're up on any of the ridge lines. And if you're planning on doing any skiing, you definitely want to prepare for that if you are heading up. Then after 5 o'clock on Thursday morning, that falls, and we have a winter storm watch in place for Thursday morning at 5 a.m. until Saturday morning at 5 a.m. as we're going to continue to see systems move through until we start to dry out as we head towards the weekend. This shows the upper air pattern. You can see the flow that we're in right now is kind of coming out of the Gulf of Alaska. That's what's giving us the low snow levels right now. That kind of lifts upward a little bit as we head into tomorrow. This is the reason we're seeing those snow levels rise up to maybe 3,500 to 4,000 feet. But then some cooler air kind of starts to work its way towards us as we head towards later Thursday into Friday. You can see we're into the cooler air once again, and that should bring our snow levels back down to about 2,500 to 3,000 feet. So we'll be getting snow at all the elevations once we get towards later Thursday into early Friday. And then as we head into the weekend, you see that broad arc. That's a ridge of high pressure that's pushing in here. You see our air sources are coming farther from the south now. That's the reason we're going to be seeing those snow levels go up over the weekend, and especially as we head into the first part of next week. And that's why we might see coming up out of the southwest an atmospheric river as we head on towards Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So we'll be keeping close watch on that in terms of the flooding situation. Taking a look at the computer model, you can see as we head towards tomorrow morning, we've got the rain around here with snow in the mountains, and then we get just a brief break, and then the next system kind of comes in later Wednesday on into early on Thursday. Again, a brief break before the next system lifts up over us from the south and gives us another round of heavy snows moving in. Finally, as we get into the weekend, you can see that drops south of us. We do get a chance to take a break, and it clears out a little bit as we head towards Saturday, and then on into Sunday we get that break. So definitely a very busy work week, though, headed away in terms of snow in the mountains and rain and wind down here in the lowlands. Hurricane Ridge looking pretty nice right now. It's only patchy snow not long ago, so we are making up for some lost ground, that's for sure. You can see looking out from Mount Rainier, not seeing a whole lot of clearing there quite yet, but they may see a few sun breaks as we head towards just a little bit later on. Snoqualmie Pass, you can see the sun trying to break out there, looking out towards the east side out at Hyack. And incidentally, just to update you, they don't have any restrictions right now. The last check, which was at about 9:30 this morning, Stevens Pass still had chains required, and there were traction tires required for White Pass, and traction tires just advised if you're headed across Blewett Pass. But again, those are changing conditions, so if you're going to head across the passes at any time here this week, definitely important to check those, because again, there may be some closures for avalanche control potentially on top of everything else. See, looking out there at Stevens Pass, still some snow and slush on the roadway, it looks like, and quite a bit of snow on the roadway there at White Pass starting off the day. So definitely need it, but still makes travel a little more difficult. Checking the 7-day mountain forecast, you can see the snow pretty much continues all the way into the weekend, with that heavy snow moving in, especially later tomorrow into early Thursday during that blizzard warning. We'll be looking for things to turn to mixed snow and rain by Sunday, and then, of course, as we head into the first part of next week, just rain headed our way. Checking the snow total. So this is from the computer model. So between today at 5 a.m. and 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, you can see we're picking up about 5 to 10 inches from that first system. And then we'll get that little bit of a break tomorrow morning, and then it'll pick back up again as we head towards tomorrow night. We'll see anywhere from about a foot to maybe 2 feet of snow up and down the Cascades. So it starts to pile up. And then Thursday into Friday morning, we're going to do it again. We're going to be looking for another 1 to 2 feet of snow potentially during that period of time. And finally, as we wrap up that second system moving out of the area early Saturday, between Friday morning and Saturday morning, we're going to be looking for another 1 to 2 feet being possible. It looks like Saturday itself, we're only going to see maybe 2 to 3 inches of snow as things finally begin to clear out. So pretty remarkable series of storms headed our way. Checking the lowlands today, we're going to be looking at those high temperatures in the mid-40s most spots, and then with that warmer air moving in tomorrow with that next storm system, we're going to see us warm up into the low to mid-50s, and that's when our snow levels would pop up to about 3,500 to 4,000 feet, and then we do cool a bit again as we head towards Thursday and Friday. Taking a look at that extended forecast again, if it will let us. Will it let us? Yes, it's going to let us. We've got first alert weather from this afternoon all the way through this evening, all the way through Friday, and probably wrapping up as we head into very early on Saturday. And over the weekend, we do dry out, and then we see probably some rainy and mild weather as we head into next week. So first alert weather, as I said, Tuesday evening through early Saturday. Heavy rain and mountain snow possible. Gusty winds, especially during the period from Wednesday evening on into early on Thursday morning. And that's when the blizzard warning is in effect for the Cascades. And we'll see that increasing avalanche danger during the course of the weekend. That's going to apply, of course, to all of western Washington, and especially to the Cascades and the Olympics. So definitely here, just about 2 weeks out from the arrival of spring, it's feeling an awful lot like winter, and it's going to start to feel a lot more like spring with warmer rain headed our way as we head towards next week. We'll take a look at the forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. Okay, let's see if I can. I've put some new stuff in here. Oh, I know, I got to take this out. Take that out, take that out, take that back. Man, this is a rough show. What the heck? Okay, so I can do that and that. Okay, I can do that. And Hi, welcome back. I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott, and the mountain snowpack has struggled this winter for small communities, like up on the way up to Stevens Pass for Skykomish. Weather has delivered 1-2 punches to them this year.
This week's snowfall is a dream come true for skiers and snowboarders that have been praying for powder.
Forecast looks deep. Several feet of snow this week.
A winter storm is already bringing snow to the Cascade Mountains, and forecasters say 12 to 18 inches could fall through Tuesday morning. And even more snow is possible later in the week.
Slow start to the snow season, but winter has arrived, so we're pretty stoked on that. And yeah, I think people will be heading up this week.
To reach Stevens Pass from the west side, drivers pass Skykomish, a small mountain town that's felt the impact of a slow start to the winter. But add to that, earlier this season, heavy rain and wind damaged sections of Highway 2, closing the road for nearly 3 weeks.
During that time in December, the time while the highway was closed, it's basically almost nothing going on here. I mean, we were doing probably 10% of what we would normally be doing.
Henry Sladek owns the Cascadia Inn and also serves as the mayor of Skykomish. The small town of about 200 people had its snowplows working overnight.
It's extreme. It's like, first you get no snow or not enough, and then you get too much. If you get too much, then, the highway closes.
Tonight, the town is hunkering down, ready for long-awaited snowfall, the kind of weather that could finally bring the season back to life.
In this type of business, conditions definitely dictate a lot of the traffic. So you get some good days, get some bad days, but it's shaping up to be still a good season, and we got another month or two left.
Well, maybe not that long, because usually we reach our peak snowpack in the first 2 weeks of April, so that's closing in pretty quickly. So it's really good to see this new snowfall. In fact, when we last look at the climatology, the Northwest Avalanche Center puts it out twice a month. Back on the 1st of March, for Stevens Pass, they were at 40% of their 30-year average in terms of their snow depth, and the Snoqualmie Pass was running, I believe, right around 37%. So definitely a very lean year overall. And of course, not only does it affect skiers, but we also have to think towards the summer, and our water supply comes from that snowpack. But we'll have to wait. Steve, we still have a couple weeks to go, so that's good news. And the other thing which will affect our summer water supply is the rate with which we melt it. So it depends on do we have a warm spring and summer, or is it a little bit cooler? You can make that snow last a lot longer. But of course, we'll continue to monitor that and hope that the snow we're getting here this week, which is substantial, will really add to that and put us in pretty good shape. We take a look. It's hard to believe with the forecast we're doing right now that we're just 10 days away from the official arrival of spring on March the 20th. Of course, the Mariners start their home season just 2 weeks from this coming Thursday, so spring must be coming at this point, and definitely noticing those longer daylight hours. I was going to talk a little bit about blizzard conditions and what the definition is that the Weather Service used for a blizzard. First of all, it takes quite a bit of wind. It needs sustained winds or frequent gusts to 35 miles per hour. That stems from the fact that those speeds, you can actually start to lift the snow up off the ground, make it airborne, and then it does start to affect the visibilities. And so that's one of the primary things with blizzards. You can actually have a blizzard without any new snow falling if there's loose snow and you have the strong enough winds and it starts to impact visibility. You can see that the visibility to quarter mile or less is the criteria for the blizzard, plus the fact it has to last for 3 hours. Now, this has been happening more often recently. The Weather Service has not actually changed their criteria. They have kind of changed the way they do their warning structure. And if you recall, when I was showing you a little while ago, we went from a winter weather advisory to the blizzard warning and back to the winter weather watch. So it's just it's being pulled up more often, just the way they do their warnings. But we've only had 7 ever issued out of the Seattle office. 4 of those have been in the last 2 years. So that kind of shows the difference in the warning pattern that they're using at this point. But it is significant. What we're looking at heading our way towards Wednesday night into Thursday up in the mountains is going to make for very tough travel conditions. And again, as I was talking about, the avalanche danger will be up. And so avalanche control is going to be actively taken care of as all that snow starts to come down. Checking that new snow again in the last 24 hours, Stevens Pass getting ahead of everybody in the fact that they've had 33 inches, almost 3 feet in the last 2 days, and they're probably going to pick up maybe another 8 to 10 tonight, it looks like. And Snoqualmie Pass areas, which are far behind too, also starting to pile that up, so that's all going to help. You can see that shot that we were showing you earlier there at Granite Falls. was an interesting couple of days already with that convergence zone really kind of focused up in that area, which it often is, where a lot of places this morning were totally dry, and we saw that wet snow coming down by the Cascade foothills. So the Doppler radar right now does show we've got that system trying to work its way in. Again, it's going to be slow to move into western Washington. We'll probably see the rain into Puget Sound, up towards Bellingham, probably by midday, and then we'll see it move into the remainder probably during the afternoon commute. But this is a warm-up system, as I said earlier. This one is not all that strong, so it's not really going to impact us as much down here in the lowlands. Doesn't have a whole lot of wind with it. And up in the mountains, still going to be a decent producer. They'll probably pick up about 5 to 10 inches of snow. Those snow levels, which have been hovering around sea level and 500 feet this morning, those should be rising up to about 1,000 feet this afternoon and 1,500 feet as we head towards overnight tonight. So we're not looking for any snow down here. And by the time we get into tomorrow, we'll probably see those snow levels up to about 3,000 feet with potential for it to go up to 3,500 to 4,000 feet. Keeping in mind the Snoqualmie Pass is at 3,000 feet, and we have 4,000 feet for Stevens and White Passes. Most of the ski area bases, with the exception of the Snoqualmie areas, have their bases at about 4,000 feet. So for just about everybody through the week, it is going to continue just to be accumulation of snow and really good for the snowpack. So overall, our forecast for today does call for that increasing rain in the lowlands and increasing snow up in the mountains later on. We'll see high temperatures today in the mid-40s. Tomorrow we'll get a brief break in the morning, and then we'll see the increasing rain in the lowlands and that mountain snow and those blizzard conditions for Wednesday night into early Thursday. And then Thursday and Friday, we get another system that moves in later Thursday and lasts through Friday for rainy conditions in the lowlands, mountain snow continuing up there as well. And we get that break as we head into the weekend. We're going to be looking for decreasing showers Saturday, some clearing in the afternoon, mid to upper 40s. Sunday, partly sunny. We'll see that rain move in late with rain at times, it looks like, for Monday, with temperatures in the mid 50s. So overall, first alert weather pretty much tonight all the way through Saturday morning. The heavy rain and mountain snows, gusty winds, and increasing avalanche danger affecting most of western Washington. Take a peek just a little bit beyond that. The forecast high temperatures you can see as we get into those last few days of fall, or winter rather, before we hit spring on the 20th. We could be seeing some low 60s, so pretty remarkable transitions. We've seen a lot of swings in those freezing levels this winter for sure, but this is definitely a needed snowstorm headed our way, and well, we'll be taking close watch on that. Stay tuned to King 5. We're going to be having live streams again this afternoon at 3 and 8 o'clock, and then 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. And, of course, don't miss our newscast, which at 4, 5, and 6:30 for the early evening newscast. So stay safe out there. Be careful if you're traveling across the mountains, and enjoy the sunshine while it's out this morning.